Great. Thanks for having us, Nicole. Hey, Dr. Ciletti, how are you?
I'm great, Dr. Gregg. How are you?
Fantastic. Super excited to be here today.
I am as well. So, shall we get this started?
Absolutely. I'm going to start sharing my screen if you would like to introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Well, I'm Dr. Dorene Ciletti, as Nicole mentioned, and I am just so thrilled to be joining you today to talk about sales and technology and the future. One question that I'll pose to all of you is, how many of you have a pipeline issue? Anybody have a pipeline issue, not just with your clients, but with your sales staff? My guess is at least a few of you do. And one of the reasons that we're here to talk today is because sales education, especially formalizing sales education, is one really important way that you can start to address pipeline issues. So as you think about your own sales and moving forward and how you're going to grow and advance maybe your career or the sales organization within your company, now think about what pipeline means to you and think about what you hope new entry-level sales reps will know and be able to do. So there are a couple of things that, as we think about sales curriculum and moving sales into a university space, that are really important to us. And I should also mention that I am absolutely thrilled that Dr. Gregg is an adjunct faculty member at Point Park University. She is just fabulous, and it has been such a pleasure to work with her in building our sales program and building a variety of sales and marketing courses. And one of the things that Dr. Gregg and I have talked about regularly is this idea of perception. A challenge that we have noticed when students come to university is that they don't typically understand professional sales. They often have perceptions that aren't really grounded fully in reality. Certainly these perceptions come from somewhere, whether it's movies and TV and negative representations of sales professionals, or whether it's their own experiences with maybe a less than ethical sales professional, someone who's really focused on just getting the sale and not really focused on addressing a customer's needs or really solving a problem. So perceptual issues are typically one of the first things we face when we teach sales courses at a university level. And one of the things Dr. Gregg and I do is work really hard to try to address those perceptions and really change that mindset. And I'm always very excited when on the first day of class, we ask, how many of you are interested in getting into a sales career? And maybe we get one once in a while, we might get two. And at the end of the semester, when we ask that same question, typically that number is much greater. It doesn't mean that everybody says, yes, I want to work in professional sales. That's now my new career goal. But it's that they have this respect and understanding of sales, and they see how they can really add value to an organization. They see how they can work to solve problems and satisfy needs and really make a difference. And, that intrinsic reward can be important. They certainly also are kind of excited to hear about some of the extrinsic rewards and the idea of commission and bonus structures. That's certainly beneficial as well. So, that perception piece is really big for us. Another thing that Dr. Gregg and I often try to address is uncertainty. And this certainly goes well beyond sales. Changes in the market, conditions, needs shift. One of the things that's really important for sales professionals is to be able to shift and flex as those conditions change and those needs shift. So we work a lot with students on uncertainty. And maybe we can't get them to the point of embracing uncertainty, but we certainly work to expose them to a number of examples and cases and role plays that will put them in uncertain situations where they'll have to think on their feet. They'll have to use their problem solving and critical thinking skills. They'll need to be creative. We really love to work around that's really critical in sales. So we work to change their perception. We work to get them at least to accept the fact that uncertainty will happen and to have a toolkit to address that uncertainty. We also work a lot with them on curiosity. What does it mean to be curious? And how can you have a mindset that's focused on curiosity so that when you're asking questions, when you're entering discovery, you're doing it from a place of true curiosity. You want to know. You want to uncover. You want to be able to help that prospect, that buyer, identify that problem and try to address that need. So we work a lot with curiosity. One of the things that can be very helpful is a little bit of journalism. Journalists are often taught to question. They're taught to look beyond just what is said. So we try to bring that to our students as well, to focus on that curiosity. And another key element for us is agility. Now, we know that an agile mindset makes such a difference. It's not just a sales skill. Well, we always argue that sales skills are life skills. The things we learn to do to sell are the things that will help us just improve in life in general. So we really look at, the fact that there's a lot of complexity out there. How do we break it down? And how then can we flex into what we need to do, right? How can we use agility to our benefit? And how can we teach our students to be even more agile? So those are 4 key things that we look to address in our sales program at the university level. Now, I wanted to share something that maybe some of you are aware of, maybe some of you aren't, but there are a couple of organizations out there. I'd love to say Point Park is the only one doing something in university sales, but we're not. We're actually one of a growing group of schools that is recognizing just how important sales education really is. So one of the groups that has been incredibly helpful and really supporting university sales education is the University Sales Center Alliance. Back in 2002, 9 universities came together in recognition of the fact that university sales programs had value and that it would be beneficial if we could elevate the sales profession, and we could start doing that at the undergraduate student level. So this group has been very involved in supporting sales research, in collegiality among universities. So, I like to think of it as co-opetition, cooperative or collaborative competition. Yes, we all want students, but at the same time, we recognize how important it is to cooperate and collaborate in the best interest of students and the marketplace so that we're preparing students very effectively. And I'm happy to say that Point Park University is a member of the University Sales Center Alliance. Another thing the Sales Center Alliance really focuses on is universities having a sales center. And that often means not just curriculum around sales, but also physical facilities that can help students to more effectively engage in sales. So, for example, at Point Park University, we have about 1,300 square feet that includes a sales training room, which is all video capture, set up for effective grouping individual work. We have that. We have a sales conference room space, which is fantastic for not just seminar style classes, but also for team selling, or when you have other types of larger environments where you have groups involved in sales experiences. That's been fantastic. We have whiteboards everywhere. We love to do human-centered design and design thinking and really get that creative problem solving, those juices flowing. And we have 3 individual sim labs or interview rooms where it's been absolutely fabulous to get students in there and to practice their role plays. They're technology enhanced, so we can actually have students working on a role play in a sim lab, shoot it out into the sales training room so the other students are able to view that, they're able to evaluate that and learn from it in that way. Everything can be recorded. We tend to be of the mindset that, yes, role plays might be a little painful, but it's fairly low stakes. Oh, there's an image, a little bit of an image of the sales center in the interview suite. One of them that is in our Michael P. Pitterick Sales and Innovation Center. But we want students to, we want them recorded. We want the students to watch their own role plays and to do self-evaluations. We want them to really learn and grow. So having that facility, that center, has been a really great tool. In the virtual the technology that's in there, we know that virtual sales continues to increase in importance in the marketplace. So the students are able to work from those kinds of platforms as well. So great teaching tools. We also make it available to the community as well. So we have a lot of community partners that are able to benefit from space like this. Another organization that's really been supporting university sales is the Sales Education Foundation. They've been around since 2007, and they look to, I'll say certify, and I'll say that with air quotes, but they look at identifying top sales programs, both in the US and abroad. And the numbers have increased tremendously. As of 2022, they had identified 171 top sales programs in universities in 46 states and the District of Columbia. and 18 international sales programs in 14 different countries. So they have been a great resource to universities as well. In addition to compiling that information, they also provide a sales annual, which lists those universities and provides sales tools and information. They sponsor sales research, funding, and competitions, and they support university sales competitions. So that's been another great training tool. If you think about the role plays that you probably have your sales staff do, and if you don't, you probably should. But if you think about using tools like that, universities have developed sales competitions, usually with partners, with sponsors. So yeah, funding is always welcome and appreciated. But the students get the benefit of learning about an organization's products, go-to-market strategy, and then they get out there and role play. So one of the great benefits when organizations partner with universities for competitions is they're getting students who not only understand the basic sales process, but have a basic understanding, kind of like mini onboarding, right? Have a basic understanding of those products and services. So universities are really trying to take the lead in building that sales pipeline and addressing some of the challenges in the marketplace related to professional selling. And that's something that we feel really strongly about. And again, I've been just thrilled to be able to work with Dr. Gregg and make this happen.
So exciting. One of the things that we are really pumped to tell you about today is that intersection between theory and practice. And with sales being a burgeoning type of thing in the university field, I know for me, I've hired hundreds of inside sales BDRs for my teams in the past. And one of the things that we noticed is when people would come and they already understood sales technology, if they already understood CRM, whether it was Salesforce or another one, if they already understood marketing technology, marketing automation, they could get to work so much faster. So if they had a quota to retire, they could learn how to do that more quickly because they understood the sales motions. So one of the things that Dr. Ciletti and I really started talking about were two major areas that we felt would help students cross that barrier and be able to be employable and get to work faster for your revenue teams. And two of the things that we came up with were really the idea of having people who were transitioning from being amazing A players as sales individual contributors into sales managers. So this semester, we started something new where we are co-teaching both professional selling and advanced professional selling. So the students in advanced professional selling could start to learn some tips and tricks and techniques that are rooted in academic theory on how to manage and motivate a sales team. So we're using some really cool things, like there's something called Rainmakers that we've been using in our team that enables AI conversations to really drive that whole concept of selling home so that these students are coming out fully employable. One of the other things that we really wanted to share with you today that we were really excited about is the course called Innovation and Technology and Sales and Marketing. And you can see in the middle of this slide right now, Nancy's 2022 sales technology landscape. And everyone here knows the marketing technology landscape, it would be even tinier. So we introduce all of our students through this course to the whole entire concept of Rev Tech, so that as soon as they are ready to find their internship or job, they get it. They are on HubSpot Academy. Part of the things that they have to do for this course are take those types of trainings that HubSpot Academy offers. They are on Salesforce Trailhead. So they come out of these courses with a very solid understanding of how CRM and marketing automation work. And they are really starting to think about, how can I take what I know as a student and apply that to the market? And so we wanted to show you very quickly, and I know this is a lot of words on the slide, so those of you that are design pros out there, you're probably cringing, but we thought it would be really cool to show you how we take our students through these modules. So they take this idea and they learn about the MarTech landscape, the sales tech landscape, marketing automation, CRM, that golden triangle of people, process, and technology, the technology assessment, audit, and analytics, change management and technology, and emerging technologies. A lot of this has been driven by tons of academic research, but particularly my dissertation was entirely focused around sales technology user adoption. So really that was focused a lot on diffusion of innovations. How do you take the idea of a new technology and spread it, especially when you're dealing with people with quotas, right? If you say, sit down for 2 days, we want to teach you how to use CRM, they're going to be absolutely allergic to that. They want to be out there delighting customers and they want to be retiring quota, right? So we take this idea and say, how do you apply that then to change management? And then further, how do you start to learn in this adult learner theory way? Because we all know adults learn differently, and particularly people in sales and marketing, people who are in revenue roles, they also learn differently. They want to move and they want to move fast. So we put all of these things into play by giving our students, and again, this is a lot of words, but we ask them every week after they've learned something, what's the gap in the applications? When you think about AI and machine learning, what types of apps don't exist? Or how will current apps that people are using right now in their revenue roles need to be changed to keep up with what's happening in the world right now? If you think we were not jumping up and down about ChatGPT, you are wrong. I know we all were. How's ChatGPT going to change? We bring these conversations to the classroom so that students come out and can immediately start applying them. And because I spend most of my days thinking about productivity and revenue roles full time, we can bring this back to our students and say, okay, it's time for you to learn about this in theory, but then how will you apply this as soon as you get a job and are in a revenue role? So Dr. Ciletti, one of the things that I think everybody would love to hear about is some of the practical ways that we introduce students to these technologies, these ideas, so that as soon as they hit the market, they are ready to roll.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we've been doing, and Shannon is Dr. Gregg has so much expertise in Salesforce that we bring Salesforce Trailhead into the classroom. We have them working on completing trails and getting expertise that way. And they will be able to use Salesforce then for some of the lead generation and sales work that they're doing in the classes, because we want them doing live selling. The role plays are certainly a big piece of that, but especially when they get to advanced selling, let's actually sell. We have them, as Dr. Gregg noted, working with HubSpot and getting certifications in that way. One of the other things she mentioned was Rainmakers. And if you're not familiar, the Rainmakers is basically it's a national sales competition for university students that uses a chatbot as the basis for the competition. So it's absolutely amazing. They download an app. They're able to really work on the basic, we call it the generic sales process. We know that organizations will have their own specific sales processes that they want students to become familiar with upon hire and during sales training. So we teach them the basics, and then they're able to work on that in an app format. Low-hanging fruit, less risk for the students. They can practice 100 times a day if they want to, and they can really work on refining that sales process. So it's really important to get them out there using technologies and recognizing what technology can do. We want them to be familiar with some of the latest and greatest. We really want to get them day one ready as much as possible and using the technology that's there, because sales is more than just knocking on doors. That's certainly a part of it, but the whole sales ops space is so critical for them, and we know that can help them increase their time to quota. And Dr. Gregg has such great expertise here, and she's really been leading the way in technology and sales, at least at our university.
I've been so pleased today listening to all of the sessions at the Rev Tech Summit, which is spectacular. So thank you, Signals, for putting it on. And all of the concepts that have been discussed. I remember when I started out in my sales career, you had to learn these by proxy. You had to learn them by tribal knowledge. You had to learn them from your maybe annual sales kickoff. And one of the things that we've really been focused on is how do we deliver this knowledge so that we can send sales professionals out into the world. And one of the things that we came across last week was one of our students said, one of the things that she's learned about sales is you need to make their problem your problem. And I thought that was such a beautiful way to summarize exactly what it is that we're trying to do in our revenue roles. And none of this is done without the aid of technology, right? We know that there are so many different things. And really, if you look back at this slide, if you look at this sales technology landscape, we've got so many different technologies that will help accelerate the process so that revenue can be faster. We can capture that spend more quickly. That's exactly what we want to do. And so giving our students that exposure early on helps them get into your organizations faster so that they can really hit the ground running. I think that's one of the things that's most exciting for us, Dr. Ciletti.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the goal. So, who has questions for us?
I see we've got a question here, a comment from Austin saying, someone with a computer science degree, sales was such an afterthought and then became trial by fire. And we do see that a lot, Austin. You're right. People who are subject matter experts, who are maybe pulled from delivery or operations into sales, they know their product or service better than anybody. But the whole idea of learning the sales process, the marketing process, the go-to-market process, and then adding on top of it all the technology aids that you have, it becomes really challenging, right? So when we're thinking about how to encompass all of these things and make sure that we're doing what we do best, which is become trusted advisors to our prospects and clients, it is a whole huge world, no question.
Yeah, and research from the Sales Education Foundation found that about 70% of business school grads will start their career in sales, and about 50% across the university, regardless of major, get their start in sales. So we know that even though not all students will be targeting a sales career, many of them, if not most of them, will connect with sales in one way or another. So it's really important for us to give them that preparation so that they are ready to go.
That's great. We're running low on time. We have QR codes here for you to reach out to Dr. Ciletti and or myself. Please connect with us on LinkedIn. We'd love to take any of your questions. We are also always looking for people to present to our students. So if you'd like to Zoom in and talk to them, we would love that too, because the more exposure they have, the more critical their experience is going to be so they can get to market and hit the ground running, right? We know from our years of working with salespeople, with sales managers, that one of the biggest challenges is you have to look at those three different things, the people, process, and technology, enable them with all of those, and then also think about the industry that they're in, the product they're selling to, their ICP. There's so much to it. Sales is such an incredible and challenging field, and marketing is even more complex. So when we're thinking about revenue and revenue technology, we really want to hear from you. So if you've got questions, comments, or would love to Zoom in and talk to our students, we would love to do that with you.
And I do see, to quickly answer Derek's question, do you have sales management courses? Yes, we do have an undergraduate sales management course. And so that's something that we continue to evolve, because we recognize that while entry-level students or entry-level professionals won't necessarily be working in management initially, eventually some may go in that direction. And we also think that having that understanding of sales management helps them be better sales reps, because they understand what the managers are expecting and what they need to have in place.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Dr. Ciletti. Thank you to Signals for hosting the Rev Tech Summit. It has been a beautiful day, and I'm looking forward to even more amazing content.
Thank you all.